Don't forget to give a thumbs up and provide a comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see more of this content. For my next project, it's actually a commissioned pieces. I've been asked to do some pins. So I've taken this wood over to the table saw, and if you remember, I had a square piece to start with. I've cut them all in half to start with on the lighter bird's eye maple. Then I cut thinner pieces, which is going to be the mortar line in my bricks. I've cut a number of those out. So I'm going to start gluing them together here. I'm just going to put glue on both sides of this. And then we'll glue that up. And then I think you'll start to see how the pattern develops. So once I had this strip glued in the middle here, I took it to my table saw and I split it in half. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another strip and glue it into the middle there, and then I will have this pattern. Okay, we're ready to start constructing the pins. I have everything I need here. This pin is called a Baron. It's two different sizes. You see the tubes. There's brass tubes that are going to be inserted, and they're two different sizes, two different lengths, and two different diameters. So I'll drill those out. So what I have set for my setup here is I have a clamp, and it's designed, it's a homemade device. I just cut a block with a square hole in the middle with a hinge on the back. That helps hold these squares in place as I drill them so that they don't rotate on me. I drop a waste block down to the bottom, and then I will put this into the jig. I can tell where the center is obviously on this because I conveniently have a cross pattern on the top of the block. So I'll set that down into my jig. It allows me to hold back here, gets my hand, but back here, squeeze that together, and then the other thing that it does is by holding it down onto the drill press, it allows me to drill straight. I do not want the drill to come down sideways here. I want it to come straight down the middle. So this keeps everything square so that it'll stay in the center. So I have the smaller pieces, the bottom, which would be the bottoms of the pin. So I have those three done, the block pattern, and one a solid pattern. Unfortunately, as you saw when I was drilling, I did ended up two of these. I think the issue is with the bigger hole, there's not as much material that's glued here. So it's breaking out. So I'm going to have to make two more of these up and hope that doesn't happen again. So I'll go and do that now, and then I'll be ready to start the next step. So now I want to take these brass tubes. They're going to be inserted into the wood, and later on pen parts are going to be pressed into that. But I have to glue these on. In order to glue them on, I need to sand them down just to take the shine off the outside and give the glue a surface to stick to. Now I just take the smaller pieces that I've cut, the square patterns, and I start gluing them onto the tube one at a time.
So I glue the larger piece, then the thin veneer, and then the next larger piece I turn at 45 degrees to the piece below it so that it gives me that brick offset pattern.
So pen turning is a little bit different than any other turning on the lathe. You end up mounting the pen stock on a mandrel, which is this long shaft here. And then you have bushings that fit inside that brass tube. So that just holds everything in place. And then you tighten this nut up on the end just to hold everything together. And then you turn on the lathe.
So for actually turning the pen, I mostly use my carbide cutting tool. It gives me a nice smooth surface and cuts fairly easily on this wood. So here I am just cutting it, turning it around. You'll notice that I stop quite frequently and just feel it with my fingers. Because of the way it's been assembled, there are bushings there, and you want to turn the pen down to meet the bushings. Then you know that you've got it at the final diameter. Once that's done, I start sanding it. I start off with 120 grit, work my way up to 400 grit.
So I made a buffer rod just to polish the finished product. So I have both the top and the bottom here. This is the top. So it's just a threaded rod, which I have two pieces, which have a taper in them, so they'll go inside of this. And then I'm just going to buff it on here, which is very, very fine grits and a wax, which just puts a final coat on the pen.
So here I am buffing the pen. You'll see that I have 3 buffer wheels, each with different grit waxes. They're much finer. I think they're equivalent of 2, 3, and 4,000 grit. And the final one is a very shiny wax, and that just gives the pen a very nice finish. And I'm also doing the cases here as well. That just smooths out any irregularities in the finish and again gives it a nice shine.
Okay, I'm ready to start assembling the pen. So I have the top section here, which has the brick pattern. And the kit comes with a lot of pieces for this particular kit. And to be honest with you, I just follow the directions. But it's got a clip that's got a finial that goes into the clip. That gets pressed into the top section. So that's the first step. So we'll go ahead and do that. You can get dedicated presses for putting a pen together. I just use my drill press here with a bolt inserted in the drill press, and that's what I use to press all my parts together. And I find that works very well. So we'll go ahead, and the first thing we'll do is we'll put this finial and the clip in here. This kit in particular is the chrome kit, and I like the chrome kit quite well. You can get gold, and you can also get black titanium. I find gold doesn't actually wear all that well. Traditionally, you'll see a lot of gold in use for pens, but the gold just doesn't wear well. I apologize, I'm in the way here. I'm going to switch sides on the camera. But yeah, although like I say, it is common to find the gold, I just find that the gold doesn't wear well. So I usually don't use gold unless someone requests it specifically. And I also have a coupling. That's a plastic coupling, but it's threaded, and then it's got the chrome piece with the finial in it, so that gets pressed in as well. So these are all, if you remember, there was a brass tube glued in this, so there is a brass tube inside. So when this gets pressed together, it's going to stay in place. It's quite it's attached very well. So there you go. That's the top piece. Now we'll go ahead and assemble the bottom. So now we're ready to assemble the bottom. The bottom is a little more complicated. It's got a few more pieces. Very similar. They've got these black plastic couplings, which are designed to fit inside the brass tube. Also have some threaded sections, and also it has these rings that go up against the actual wood itself. I guess the best instructions I could give you on that is really you're just going to have to, when you get the kit, is follow the directions in the kit. I've done it many times, and I still have to refer to the directions each time. If you do make a mistake, you can get them back out, the pieces you've just pressed in, but it is not easy. And there you have it. It is all assembled. I'll get the top. Top is designed, it's called a cap pin because when it's together, it's going to look like this. That can be screwed off and placed on the other end when in use. So there you have it. Bought these boxes, and I have the water slide decals, which I put onto the box. So with these, you just print them out on a laser printer, put them in water, they come off, and then you can apply them to a wood surface, or any other surface for that matter. And then once I put it on there, I put 3 or 4 coats of an oil-based Varathane over top of that, so that the decal is underneath here. You can't even feel the edges of it or anything. So it's now permanently installed on there. It will not come off. So that's the case. This is the final pin. Fits nicely in the box. The pins are replaceable. The inks inside are replaceable, so they can be kept for many years. So with this, I also printed a label off with my logo as well, and also just an instruction on how to use a pin. So that's the final product, and I have 4 of these in total. So my commission project is complete. So I have 4 pins in total, 3 roller balls and 1 fountain pen, and in a case with a label on it. Again, this was a commission piece. It was a retirement gift. So there's the brick pattern. You can see, I think it turned out fairly nice. In the case and in a gift box, ready to be shipped off. One thing I do want to say, it was a pleasure to do this product. One because the fountain pen was a very good friend of mine Eric, I hope you enjoy this. Also, one of the retirees that's receiving this pen is Bob, also a friend of mine, and it's well deserved. And I hope you enjoy this. And I wish you the best in your retirement.